Thank you so much for joining me in this full update. I'm going to be talking about Bret's impacts to areas in the Caribbean Sea for us here coming in the next few days. All of that information and more about the tropical system and another one behind it coming up in this Forecast for America by One Nation Weather. Of course, always watching the tropics for you on this channel as well. And here's your Monday evening infrared imagery. You can see the still shot on the top left, definitely looking like it's gathering itself together. You can see some of those red areas indicating some of the thunderstorm coverage, and then some of the greener areas on that infrared imagery indicating that cirrus fan out looks quite healthy for us there. Some of those higher clouds moving away from the center for us. And you can see it is maintaining that look over an extended period of time, which is why, and part of why at least, the National Hurricane Center has designated this a tropical storm now. 40-mile-per-hour winds as of the 5 p.m. Eastern update for us here as it continues its pretty quick westward push at 21 miles per hour. We're looking at tropical storm conditions with this continuing through around Wednesday, early in the morning it looks like right now, but as we go into Wednesday afternoon, this could turn into a hurricane, maybe even earlier based on some models. We're keeping an eye on that as it makes its way towards the Lesser Antilles for us here, impacting places like Barbados all the way on up to Anguilla. We'll keep an eye on that. And then this could make its way on over to Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic as it pushes towards our Saturday time frame. Again, the National Hurricane Center is watching that very closely for us. Now, Tuesday night location, it is making its way further westward, so about a day from now you can see it is approaching the islands. Still a good several hundred miles away, though. Notice how this makes a very good approach as we go into Wednesday night, though, nearing 100, 200 plus miles away. And as we go and look at your sea surface temperature departure, I just wanted to point out that the waters this system is moving through the next couple of days, they are much warmer than average. So this means that they're more typical of July, maybe even August standards, which is when they do support major hurricanes. I'm not saying this is going to be a major hurricane. There's a very high chance that it will not be. But this is just to show that there is plenty of warm water to work with and to help it as it builds up over the next few days. Now, your tropical storm wind chances, according to NOAA and the National Hurricane Center for us here, you can see basically 100%, 80 to 100% as in the near term for us here. The chances are always going to go down as we go with time, even if it is expected to become a hurricane. But you can see a good 50-50 shot already that some of these northern islands in the Caribbean, these initial islands, get impacted. So you definitely need to keep a very close watch on that in those areas. But also notice the potential for tropical storm winds goes all the way on over to Haiti as it looks right now, maybe even approaching towards Bahamas and the eastern and southeastern tip of Cuba. Again, that will be with more time, and that is something to watch. Now, the hurricane wind chances right now, they're pretty low, but it does look like they would happen right around before they make it to those islands, which is why, again, it needs to be monitored very closely as it approaches those Lesser Antilles. Now, your Thursday night location. Again, you can see this really gathering itself together. Look at that big red area. Look at the greens surrounding it. Big cirrus fan out, big thunderstorms, looking like we might very well have a hurricane by the time we go Wednesday into Thursday. The Euro model actually brings us as a weaker system with an early arrival into those islands, so we'll keep a very close watch on that because that is an interesting pattern, because that would obviously be the more preferred option. A 1008 millibar system, that's more of a typical low pressure, and the one back off to its east that we'll talk about in a minute, that one would actually be stronger according to the European model at that time. And then it basically thinks that Bret will die out as we go into the weekend with just some lingering showers working their way into the other places like the DR, Dominican Republic, and Haiti for us there, Puerto Rico as well. Now, Tropical Storm Bret's timing of the wind speeds according to the Hurricane Center right now. You can see those continuing to push westward as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. But look at what we're looking at. By the time we go to those Lesser Antilles, the most likely arrival time is around Thursday at 8 p.m. right now. So that is something to watch. As we go towards Friday at 8 p.m., continuing its westward push towards places like Puerto Rico. And then again, as we go into a Saturday, it would make its way further west if it can hold itself together that long. Now, the model tracks basically agree. I've made kind of my own cone for you here, but it's basically the same thing the Hurricane Center is showing. Most models are now keeping this on a lower and westward track for you, and not many of them are going on the northern end of this, kind of squeezing it between the northern tip of South America for us there and these islands. So again, pushing westward in the next 3 to 5 days, it should be making its way to the islands. Now, here's the intensity guidance. As we go towards our Tuesday, it's looking like in general this will be making its way into the mid-tropical storm territory for us as we go into Wednesday, approaching hurricane strength. Thursday, getting into that hurricane strength, especially Wednesday night into Thursday. That's when that looks to develop. And then as we go into our Friday, kind of starting to wane. So here's what that looks like. I kind of made a line for you here just to see what the overall trends are with the models, bringing this up to a low-end Cat 1 system for us here, and then waning this down from there. Now you can see the forecast cone again, turning this into a hurricane by the time we go to our Wednesday night and into our Thursday. And then look at this. It's looking like by the time we're going through the end of the day Friday and into our Saturday, this wanes back into a storm as it looks right now. Now, Invest 93L has formed behind Bret. I do want to point this out, a 50% chance of development out of 93L. Development may occur, but the problem with this is going to be there is some wind shear in upper levels of the atmosphere. That's going to tear this apart, basically, as it looks right now. But nonetheless, we could see kind of a fish storm hurricane maybe get going out of that, even so. Now, your recap of the headlines. Tropical Storm Bret has formed. Well, what does that mean, One Nation Weather Force here? A strong tropical storm or hurricane will likely form by this as we go towards our Wednesday. Trends indicate significant weakening after it hits those Lesser Antilles. Showers and storms may still push to Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. I do not see USA impacts happening from this right now, as Invest 93L awaits its development in the background. Meanwhile, back at home, I do want to just briefly point out, we have this pattern bringing some scattered showers and storms in the afternoon into portions of the northern plains and the Dakotas. Those storms are ones to watch because we could see some large hail, some elevated wind potential, as well as maybe a tornado or two in that zone. We're also watching some hefty rainfall totals and some flooding potential that is coming into portions of the southeast, and that looks to linger into portions of the east as we go towards the late weekend, early weekend time frame, with more storms starting to fire back up into the plains in the afternoons. Thank you so much for watching me here. Here are the credits. Please go ahead and like and subscribe to help me build my channel.